the Church of Scientology is so afraid of?
This is SPTV.
Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode from SBTV. And this is part 2 of exposing Marty Rathbun. So I want to thank all of you guys who have been commenting and asking questions. I always encourage you guys to ask questions and comment. And definitely like and subscribe, because our message is growing and our message is getting out there. And as long as kids are stuck inside of those hotels, our message needs to grow. For way too many years, the Scientology parents and the Scientology executives have been playing dumb. And we are done with them playing dumb. Because when the Scientology parents and the Scientology executives play dumb, children get hurt. Is that MF simple? So until we don't see a shred of change of people advocating for any shred of kid exposed to the disgusting, sadistic rituals that L. Ron Hubbard pitched, a bunch of infantile adults that love it there, a bunch of infantile adults that decided to renounce their critical thinking skills at the door in exchange for being accepted, in exchange for being told that they're cool. So the era to play dumb is over. And the era to start doing something effective about the depravities is here. It's here with us now in this year 2023. Why has nothing changed for the last 73 years? Oh, gee, I wonder why. Because L. Ron Hubbard told no one to change nothing. Well, it couldn't be more pathetic and stupid and idiotic, and we're not here for it. We're not going to entertain people's delusions, because we know who gets to pay the price for such delusions. And it couldn't be more unacceptable or indefensible. So we would love to see some parents joining Scientology audit outside these organizations, asking questions, demanding they release all minors. But that is the problem with the Scientology collective of parents, you guys. They want to be forgiven, but they don't want to be actually repenting for anything. They just want to walk out of a threshold of a hotel where, they did love it there while they were, willing to launder their self-admitted felonies. And then they leave the hotel and they're like, okay, well, we don't want to do that anymore. We just expect everyone to give us a free pass for whatever in the hell we did inside of that hotel. Because we didn't know what we were doing. Everyone inside of those hotels knows what in the hell they're doing. The only ones that don't are the MF kids that don't have a shred of advocate, that are being gaslit, that are being put in harm's way with everyone full knowing and being okay with it. So that's why we're making these videos, so you all can start waking up to the facts and you can all start understanding what in the literal abominable hell is being allowed to be normalized at an industrial size scale. Here's Marty Rathbun, you guys, part 2.
And these guys are coming around like this and that and that. Well, that evening, I couldn't do that because Angie was on the phone nonstop with other executives at Flag talking about McPherson because she'd been taken to the hospital. And I guess, so she wasn't even, she wasn't even accessible to me because she was nonstop on the phone. When it was all said and done, though, and they found out Lisa McPherson had died, She rushed out of the room and go ahead and meet with other executives on the base. So I didn't know what was going on.
Oh yeah, guys, nothing like calling each other executives. Angie was going to go talk to other hotel executives. Executives of a conspiracy, executives of practicing law without a license, executives of practicing medicine without a license. What type of executives were y'all, Marty Rathbun? By all means, feel free to come to the public record and clarify what type of executives y'all really were. Because right about now, we really don't understand the type of executive you were, because we see through the pathetic pitch. We see straight through it. And unless you cannot counteract that pathetic pitch, if you want to pitch something by us and see if you can gaslight us again, it'd be great to hear the type of gaslighting show you wouldn't even put together, because you can't get anything MF past us anymore, since we are adults in MF adult bodies, Marty Rathbun. So talk to your little Texan friend, Debbie Cook, and have yourselves a little chat about what you're being outed for. Really do talk to each other and see, if you really should be collecting checks on a monthly basis, if that's really a great, wonderful idea for you to have, given all the disgusting things you've already been telling us on the public record, how dirty, how unhinged, how smug all of you are, as you're allowed and enabled to literally commit crimes in broad daylight without a shred of consequence. Isn't that great, you guys? That Florida just allows white men and white middle-aged women to get away with child trafficking, covering up of a murder, covering up of a literal alleged murder. Though Marty Rathbun is so comfortable telling us how a person that was having a medical psychotic break, that was getting no medical assistance, should have never shut down the hotel. Imagine you're the Four Seasons. Imagine you hire a bunch of randoms inside that Four Seasons, and imagine those randoms take full control of a woman having a psychotic break, as if they know what in the hell they're doing. Imagine the Four Seasons would have given these people a 2-week course inside of that hotel about how to handle psychotic breakdowns, so you don't have to go to medical school or law school or get any type of degree, because, who gives an F about that?
All I knew is that in my position, I was supposed to investigate the next day and find out what happened.
Okay. And from then on, you got pulled into the McPherson case, and what were your duties throughout the rest of the case when it went to litigation and everything?
Okay, I'll tell you what happened. We the next morning I went to investigate what went on, and it was like walking into a disaster area. There was like 15 to 20 people who had been attendants. And it was like walking into a flood scene or something. I mean, they all looked devastated. They lacked sleep. Some of them had scratches and bruises from getting hit by Lisa.
With a straight face, you guys, notice how calm he is at describing the fact that he and the rest of his clown goons, who were really, really distraught. Oh, did we really not help her? Did our efforts to isolate her, hold her against her will, shove her in a room, treat her in horrendous ways, did that not help her stay alive? Oh my God, I'm crying. I'm really crying. Everybody was so distraught, says Marty Rathbun with his little smug face.
All of them were extremely emotionally distraught because each one of them put it on their shoulders that they had done something wrong. Well, quite frankly,
They put it on their shoulders. They done something wrong. The woman is dead. Did they not do something wrong, Marty Rathbun? The woman was having a psychotic breakdown. I mean, imagine, you guys, that you have someone that's having a cardiac arrest in front of you, and you just decide to, take a 2-week course inside of a hotel on how to handle cardiac arrest without having to go to medical school. And then you just apply all the random, disgusting advices that a disgusting, unhinged man wrote about decades ago. And you really go line by line. Oh, you guys, are we really like locking up the person against their will to see if the, if the cardiac arrest goes down? And the problem is that they say it without being faced, you guys, because these MFers had a disgusting, unthinkable, indefensible control over other people's lives. Power dynamics that were all discombobulated, wrong, dehumanizing, and disgusting. Power dynamics of which they should have never had that level of power. But all it took is for them to dress up in a military uniform and go, hoo-ha, I'm going to really do something big for the world. Watch out. My 2-week course inside of a hotel is about to be put into action.
frankly, everybody did something wrong because the whole thing was done wrong. I mean, you don't have 15 different people rotating in and out of a room with somebody who's psychotic. The whole idea of this of this isolation is you don't have any external stimuli re-stimulating the person and getting them to set off again. If you have utter stillness and utter quiet, they tend to calm down enough that they can then communicate.
There's fucking Marty Rathbun blabbing his mouth, you guys, yet again, because he's got 20 years of doing these handlings on people. Really, Marty? 20 years? And the problem that you come up with on Lisa McPherson is that you had 15 people watching her. The problem that you have, Marty Rathbun, is that you are a complete imbecile. And I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why you are a complete imbecile. Imagine, you guys, you have not only Angie Trent acting unhinged as if she really knows what in the hell she's doing, David Miscavige, Debbie Cook, Alan Kardasinski, Marty Mark Rathbun, Ilona Bauer. 15 people, he says, were watching this woman. And 15 people decided that their 2-week course inside of the hotel superseded all medical advice, all legal advice, and any other type of rights this woman would have had. All of them agreed that they were doing it together as a team. And they were all extremely responsible for it, given that they were all grown adult men and women dealing with this. Never mind that there's minors such as myself and even Laura FM that were used in the cleanup of this criminal act, including Laura, who was sent to shred files to hide evidence of the crimes that were committed. Imagine that people like Marty Rathbun, Angie Trent, Tom DeVocht, Debbie Cook, Angie Blankenship, Pilar Saldarriaga, all these women and people were all coordinating how to hide the criminal exposure they had in the aftermath of their disgusting handling that didn't have any basis in reality or merit. These people were not doctors. These people were nobody, know-it-all, child trafficking goons. And they don't want to be perceived like that. And that's why Marty Rathbun grabs at all the little words that he can use to sanitize the cover-up of a criminal act. Give it up to Marty Rathbun, you guys. His acting skills couldn't be better than Tom Cruise's acting skills, as you guys can see.
And you can do some auditing, and then you can help bring them up and pull them out of the thing. Tom, I've seen this work on a number of people over the years, all the way from my beginning days in Scientology.
Again, you guys, I've seen this work on people. Do you see his smugness? I've seen this work on people. Practicing medicine without a license and purporting that whatever hocus pocus, goo goo gaga thing he was doing on the side helped anyone other than them covering up their tracks. Because that's the type of successes that Marty would count. Oh yeah, we really did help them. They stopped being psychotic for 2 seconds, enough to get them to disappear. Where if anything happens, it cannot be blamed on us. Because look, they did sign the arbitration clause, you guys. They did sign that we're not responsible for anything. Oh, we were not their doctors. We were their spiritual counselors. Like, we were just wanting to spiritually counsel her as they locked up people, isolated people, had 15 people trying to prevent the problem. But, you know, sometimes the type of problems these people create couldn't be hidden away anymore, because Lisa did show up dead. Imagine that, you guys.
It's really quite simple. They have 15 people rotating in and out. She's getting a different new stranger in the room every other day. They've got people in there bawling their eyes out. You're not supposed to say a word. In fact, you're not even supposed to be in the room. Okay?
Do you see, again, you guys, the facility of the smugness of the know-it-all? Imagine being stupid Marty Rathbun that says that, oh yeah, the problem, the reason that Lisa McPherson died after having a psychotic break was because, you know, you're not supposed to see 15 people. That's really the problem, you guys. According to Marty Rathbun, 2-week course inside of a hotel, know-it-all from hell. Narcissistic AF without a shred of a clue what in the hell he's opining about. But believe you me, he thought he was a big technical person to really be having this big technical opinions. Because these people that studied the courses of L. Ron Hubbard think of themselves as lawyers, think of themselves as doctors. Apparently, whatever L. Ron Hubbard wrote to them about gives them that level of cognitive dissonance and insanity that is utterly dangerous, given that there is a woman who showed up dead. And this man seems to be part of the, oh, that had nothing to do with me. Meanwhile, he was there advising on what type of sedatives she should have been given. Imagine that, you guys. And imagine that he still wants to pretend that he had nothing to do with it, but he was having very inappropriate conversations about stuff that is way above his head.
I mean, I can't describe to you how 180 degrees diametrically opposed the handling of her was to what the scripture says is the way you're supposed to handle something like that.
In fact, you had a friend.
And more smugness, and more little laughs, and more what the scripture said. Imagine you are Marty Rathbun, and you are pathetically goo-goo gaga for a convicted, indicted felon that you are convinced is your superhero because he really know what in the hell he's talking about. And imagine that you are betting with all your certainty on L. Ron Hubbard's disgusting, maniacal, stupid ass rhetoric as the thing that you really want to hold up. We had scripture to how to handle a psychotic break. Are you a religion? Are you practicing medicine without a license? Are you a hotel? Do you have technology? Do you have theology? What in the literal abominable hell is your pitch? Because those 5 things that were pitched at once cannot make sense, all of them together. You cannot be a hotel delivering a technology that you're purporting is a theology, but in fact is a shortcut for you not to get a medical license to opine and think of yourself as some grandiose deputy inspector general for ethics while giving advice on the type of sedatives a woman should be on having a psychotic break, a woman that you are ordering to be locked up without a shred. Oh yeah, that's what it said on the bulletin, you guys. That's what it said on the scripture. Oh yeah, as long as we call it scripture, it cannot be a deranged, unhinged rant of a convicted, indicted felon. Imagine that's all it took for Marty Rathbun to go goo goo gaga for L. Ron Hubbard.
Praise for how it was handled. A perfect storm. Or
I thought it was a perfect storm of incompetence and irresponsibility. And I say the irresponsibility and incompetence because the writings say that you've got to have a complete full medical examination. You've got to rule out that this person isn't.
The writings say that you have to have full medical examination. Oh yeah. As if they were saying that. Again, you guys, this is another one of these clever tricks that Marty Rathbun is playing to pretend that the writings did say, never mind the person couldn't end up at a psychiatrist, never mind that the person couldn't really end up in any type of medical that would be a mandated reporter. Do you see why they were trying to get her to David Minkoff to see if they could have a mandated reporter put their law license, their medical license on the line, just so, maybe we can, really kind of like resuscitate her. Maybe she's not dead. Maybe we can just resuscitate her quickly and have her disappear. But their plan went to shit. And Marty Rathbun purporting that L. Ron Hubbard wrote that you really should have a medical check for anything. Those people didn't give a shred of an F about having anything medical.
In some kind of hidden pain, and that's the source of all this. Okay, you're not going to pull a person out of a wild area of spiritual and mental distraught if they're in excruciating pain. So a complete, thorough medical examination is required. Okay, never had it. They had a woman in there who was on staff, who was a doctor, who you later uncovered didn't even have a license and had lost her license for abusing medical prescription drugs.
Oh yeah, you guys. That was the great medical person that we had inside of the hotel for ourselves. How can we forget when Debbie Cook announced, you guys get ready. The medical office now has someone that is a doctor. Never mind, this woman lost her license for abusing drugs herself. These people didn't give a shred of an F. And they all acted like this woman had a license.
Who the CS, who's really the person directing the whole thing, he's assuming that she's done such, but there's no evidence she's ever done such. And it's a dueling match between Elaine Kartazinski, the CS, and Janice Johnson, the doctor. Janice Johnson thinks, boy, I'm under the direct supervision.
The doctor, the woman who had her license revoked for abusing prescription drugs, you guys. And Elaine Kartazinski, the CS, is the degenerate that completed a 2-week course inside of a hotel and decided, gee, wouldn't it be a great idea for me to charge people to come to me for help to do things that I have no shred of license to be advising about, other than the 2-week course inside of the hotel that I took from L. Ron Hubbard. So as much as Marty's trying to talk about, oh yeah, the CS who really supposed to oversee everything, the CS are the glorified child trafficking, disgusting manipulators. They're the ones that are incentivizing, directing, and giving orders that couldn't be more offbeat, that couldn't be more offline, that couldn't be more unreasonable, because they don't know what in the hell they're talking about, other than, oh, what did L. Ron Hubbard say? Let me read the advice. Let me check what it said on the reference, like idiots. All these people do day in and day out, you guys, is grab a hold of L. Ron Hubbard's stupid writings and ramblings and piece and meal together whatever in the hell their interpretation is of that stupidity. Imagine you are that idiot.
Of a class 12, the top CS at the Mecca of technical perfection, and he ain't telling me to do anything, so I must be doing everything right. You understand? And on the other hand, you got Elaine thinking, well, nothing serious can actually happen here because I've got a bona fide doctor who's going in to see her every single day. So each of them are pointing the finger in the other direction. Of all the people in the entire...
Each of them were not in any way, shape, or form qualified to be dealing with a medical psychotic break condition, Marty Rathbun. Put that in through your smug face.
Place. I mean, we had maids who were from Central America who couldn't even speak English, who spent afternoon in there. 201, each one of them felt fully responsible for the result of that.
Give it up to Marty Rathbun, you guys. I mean, just as you think this cannot get any worse, we had maids from Central America who didn't even speak English. He's talking about Sea Org maids. He's talking about foreigners that he is trafficking. He's talking about putting the maids to watch the woman that was having a psychotic medical breakdown inside of the hotel. And notice how, he says it with such smugness and such a, matter-of-fact face, as if it's not facing him whatsoever what in the hell he just spouted, like an idiot that he is.
The only ones that didn't were Elaine and Janice. Now, Elaine ultimately did, but I don't know if Janice ever did. But you understand what I mean by irresponsibility. Mm-hmm. They're pointing the fingers at one another, and they're the only two who were doing that. Everybody else who had no responsibility, really, because they're really at the beck and call of Janice and Elaine, they feel fully responsible. So that's the state of affairs. I know early on that same day while I was doing all that, Angie said she had to go because she had to go handle the folder, which I subsequently learned was vetted of any evidences of Miscavige's hand in the deal. But this is what happened. So my whole
never miss a chance to invoke David Miscavige as the person that did it all, because we didn't know, we didn't do it, David did it, they all did it together, you guys. As if this was only Alon's problem What part of you advising on the type of drugs that Lisa was going to be taking Marty Rathbun from your high position as the Deputy Inspector General Ethics, second in command to Angie Trent, did you not get? Because you are so quick to say, oh yeah, those underlings over there at the hotel were the ones that did it. You were above all of them. You had already witnessed Lisa having the psychotic break, and you didn't think, geez, this is the time to call the medical professionals. You thought, geez, this is when I go to Alan Kardasinski, the idiotic man who completed 2-week courses inside of a hotel. And, why don't we just outsource psychotic breaks and charge for those while we can? Because why not, right, guys? Why not just charge for medical services that you cannot provide? Apparently, in Florida, you can. We don't advise it, but apparently you can, you guys. If you feel like, being an unhinged degenerate like Marty Rathbun, go open yourself a hotel and run whatever medical malpractice you want. Because watch no one in Florida give a shred of an F, even after people show up dead.
Mandate is to handle the internal aspect of it, just to get to the truth. And a day into that, the Clearwater police show up and say they want to speak to Elaine and Janice. Well, I guess somebody identified Elaine and Janice. I don't know how that worked, or they just voluntarily were the ones that said they were responsible. They had to go to the Clearwater Bank building to see the police. Had not on my lines.
Imagine that, you guys. Imagine that the Clearwater police, even after they hear of a shady AF murder, death, I guess that's what you would call a death. Oh, we'll come to you. Where should we see you? Imagine they're in such friendly, cozy, buddy-buddy relationships that even a very shady AF situation that should be raising all manner of red flags for the police in charge of enforcing laws, paid to enforce laws, go, oh no, don't come to us. We'll come to you. Why don't we just send you the people that, really could come to you?
At all.
The Clearwater police is a block away from these people. So it would be easy for Alon, the case supervisor, and Janice, the woman that had no medical license, that lost the medical license she did have for abusing prescription drugs.
Because I'm only handling this, orders that are issued as per Dave Miscavige's orders. Well, what happens is Janice and Elaine go in and tell the police a complete and utter lie. They said there was no religious services whatsoever. This was all a situation of a woman coming for rest and relaxation at the Fort Harrison. So now that's on record with the police, okay? Later that day or that evening, I get a call that I got to go out to Clearwater Beach to get on a payphone to get a confidential call from David Miscavige. I get the call.
What type of crooked conspiracy are these two running that Marty Rathbun is so comfortable blabbing out? There were hundreds of phones inside of these hotels and commercial buildings, you guys. The fact that Marty Rathbun felt so comfortable voicing how he got instructed to leave the hotel and go wait by a payphone in a random place in Clearwater Beach, because that's where we're going to call you from. I mean, the fact that the Clearwater police is sleeping with these people truly says it all, you guys. In what world can any Clearwater police enforce a shred of law as they are Literally so duped by people like this so easily.
He says to me, why aren't you all over this thing? Why is Tom DeVock handling the police? And why is Tom DeVock arranging interviews? Where are you in all this? Why are you, and I'm not going to, by the nature of the whole relationship, you don't say, well, sir, 3 months ago, you told me to shut my mouth. And when somebody says jump, I say how high. You don't do that. You listen and you take it and, whatever. But he's now.
By the nature of the pathetic slave that Marty Rathbun was so happy to be. As he smirks again, you guys. Oh, yeah. Okay, sir, whatever you say. David Miscavige, the unhinged, child-trafficked teenager, was running Marty Rathbun like his little bitch. Imagine that. Imagine the shock of us, the kids that thought Marty Rathbun was a high-ranking executive. Meanwhile, he wasn't anything other than a glorified gopher.
Saying, get on it. So that's the hand I'm dealt. I got 2 false sworn statements to law enforcement agents. I've got the worst possible perfect storm of incompetence and irresponsibility in terms of what actually went down. Okay. And that's how it begins.
And that's how it begins. Says Marty, zero self-awareness, unindicted, runaway. Guess he's not runaway because he hasn't even been indicted, you guys, because that is how pathetic this government has been. That is how biased the United States government has been. That is how much they've been in on enabling these pathetic middle-aged men and women to live out their wildest fantasies, to violate all manner of laws without a shred of accountability. And with what type of smugness and with what type of almost joy is this Marty Rathbun recounting his glory days as a glorified child trafficker abuser that didn't give a single F except to get paid when he exited the hotel, except to get on a little paycheck monthly program because he wanted to have some of that blood money for himself. So keep asking questions, you guys, and keep really digging into these media audits. Because as long as everyone is cradling and canoodling grown adult men and women who chose to conspire in a wide-ranging racketeering criminal conspiracy, nothing is going to happen. As long as everyone keeps pretending that these people didn't know what in the hell they were doing, even though they knew. And now you have Marty Rathbun blabbing to the public, on the public record, just how much he knew, just how much he's implicated, just how much of a co-conspirator and lawless legal advisor he was. I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all really, really soon. Thank you.